To start, I would like to thank again our Moroccan member, BCP, to be the host of this month's Spark. So, Mamoun, again, thank you very much for being our host and to introducing to us the topic on trade finance in Africa. For all of you, I would remind that CIBP has a new president since May of this year. The CIBP organization is under a French presidency, and within its mandate, there are two main core strategies. One is to remind and to work on what unites us. It means the cooperative values as such, and how they are declined within the CIBP members and their realities. And another important topic, and this is sponsored by our Moroccan member, is business opportunities among CIBP members. So even if CIBP members are cooperative banks, cooperative financial institutions that are dedicated to the regional, local, national development of the regions. We believe that among the banks, there are opportunities of business and of trading and to be the preferred partner in different fields. So this park is a reminder to all of us that there are some opportunities also lying in Africa. Why? As BCP is now a super Syrian bank with more or less 16 or 17, please correct me, regional
17, correct.
banks. 17. Okay, thank you, Mamoun. 17 banks across the continent, which is huge. And this can create opportunities also for CIBP members to enter within the African continent. So with that said, thank you again, Mamoun, for being with us. And thank you for your presentation on trade finance in Africa, sorry.
Thank you, Valeria. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Very pleased to be here with you, being part of the CIBP. It's a very great pleasure for us to, of course, participate in the Spark this edition and also to introduce you our bank, first of all, and of course, our initiative through Africa and mainly the subcontinent. I will start by introducing myself. I can see some names, some friends also attending this edition of Spark. I'm Mamoun Amrani, heading the Correspondent Banking division within the Financial Institution Group at BCP Casablanca head office, taking in charge the relationship with the foreign commercial bank with whom our group coordinate and take relationships. So our objective today is to take you a little bit far from your homelands and to share with you a quick part of our great adventure in sub-Saharan Africa, but also in our presence countries particularly. So as a bank, BCP is the second largest bank in Morocco. We also benefit from the same DNA that we are currently sharing with our CIBP members. Being a cooperative banks, we are mainly dedicated also to small and medium enterprise, but also microfinance. Our journey started back in the 20s when the BCP was created, and our African adventure took place something around the 1991 to be precise, where we had acquired three major banks in Centrafrique, Mali, and also Guinea. This opportunity gave us a huge advantage, of course, to know the African market and also to introduce ourselves as a Moroccan bank in the subcontinent. Now, compared to the other Pan-African groups, we are facing a huge competition. There is also some international banks who are also present in the subcontinent. However, our African DNA brings us an advantage compared to the others, where we can also develop our expertise on those markets and being in place and having some huge network in mainly Cameroon, Senegal, and Côte d'Ivoire allow us to feel more the climate and the climate business in those countries. As a group, of course, we are sharing a structure like the usual mutual banks model. So there is regional banks who are owning the BCP group. We are also owned by 48% of our customers through the regional banks. Mainly 7 regional banks of Banque Populaire are owning Banque Centrale Populaire. As a quick overview on the Moroccan market, as I earlier mentioned, we are the second largest bank in terms of assets. However, in terms of total deposit, we are first ranked bank in Morocco. And also in terms of integration in retail business, we are the second bank and also very comfortable position on the retail business, owning the second position after Tijari Wafa Bank and also Bank of Africa, which are the 3 major banks in Morocco. We are, of course, a very universal bank, providing all type of product to our retail client, corporate client, and also some specialized product through insurance, capital market, microfinance, and also consulting through our BCP consulting arm. On the other hand, we have, and we are very proud to have a very concentrated presence in Central Africa and also in West Africa. As you can see on this slide, the major geographical presence are in the Central Africa through, of course, ABI, which is Banque Atlantique, the commercial name, and also AMIFA, which is the microfinance subsidiary dedicated to SMEs and SMEs activities. And of course, we have other presence in Congo, Mauritius, Cameroon, Madagascar, and Central Republic of Africa through the commercial name of BCP. So having said that, I will now share with you a very quick overview of the landscape trade finance in Africa. Of course, feel free to interrupt me if you have any specific question, any clarification you may need, depending on the processing of our presentation today. So the trade finance in Africa particularly was very unknown to other foreign institutions, and our aim having a group as a bank is to introduce this type of activities to our correspondent banks, but also to our members of CIBP. Knowing that trade finance activity is relatively very low risky compared to other type of product that other banks may offer in this region. And we can also see that the majority of the banks in the subcontinent are dedicated to trade finance activity. Why? Because the major developing countries in Africa are in need, so the import needs are very huge compared to the export, despite, of course, the very high value countries who are exporting raw materials and also energy. On the other side, the majority of the remaining countries are importing and they have, of course, a lot of needs in terms of facilities, in terms of trade finance line, and also in terms of financing. So this brings BCP to the center to the center of this initiative, allowing them to, of course, bridge the gap and contribute as a support to connect our subsidiaries to our international network. And I would like also to seize this opportunity to invite you for your upcoming transaction to think of BCP if you have any specific transaction, any specific request, needs shared by your client. You can definitely approach our team. I will share with you lately after the presentation the contact detail, and then we can discuss to support you in any geographical region where BCP have a presence. So as I said, despite the majority of the unknown market, only 5% of default rate is observed in sub-Saharan Africa, which allow us as a group and also to the other foreign financial institutions some rooms for them to further target these African markets and also further invest in these countries by providing line facilities, introduction to the market. If there is, for instance, one of your clients who would like to target one of the regions, we can bring the knowledge to your client, share our expertise on those countries, and also being able to link and accommodate the transaction, either by supporting through Casablanca, but also on a direct connection between the issuing banks, which definitely be part of the CIBP members, to the banks who are confirming the transaction or from the other side. The high engagement also for the commercial bank in Trade Africa is very impressive, as you can see on the figures. For the Central Africa, where we have presence on also West Africa, we have, for instance, in West Africa, 93% of the commitment of the local banks are dedicated to trade finance, which gives more comfort. And as I said, having in those regions a huge import needs, this allows the banks to have more capital dedicated to support trade finance activities. Now, being in a very universal market where we can face huge competition with other foreign institutions, our role, of course, is to support these region, but also to connect our banks in those regions with other foreign banks to diversify the maximum the source of liquidity, source of facilities, and also to benefit from a very competitive pricing in terms of either cost of fund and also pricing confirmation when it comes to letter of credit, guarantees, and also SPLCs. As a landscape, you can see on the figures that the majority of the banks who are well capitalized are mainly on the north of Africa and also on the very south of Africa. Having a huge equity capacity will allow those banks to have slightly low percentage of their trade activities in their portfolio. Compared to the other region, as you can see in Central Africa and West Africa, these banks are compared to the other two top and down region of the continent are very low capitalized. So the majority of the assets are mainly dedicated to a huge trade finance transaction, mainly the import of energy, which are very consuming in terms of equity. So this will squeeze them a little bit, adding to that some difficulties in this area in terms of political risk and also some stress on their local liquidities. So this will encourage us as a group, and this is our vision, and the aim is to have them well connected outside of their areas, and to have also direct facilities with other foreign institutions. This lack of capital may cause from time to time some regional disparity. Of course, the north and south of Africa are well capitalized, were introduced. They have a huge and strong network of correspondent bank. Their risk capacity their risk authority rating is very high compared to the other banks in the sub-region, which allow them to have, of course, very competitive rates in terms of liquidity, and also to get their transaction confirmed very easily with the with other commercial counterparty with whom those regions are working. I think we are facing some issue.
Yes, apologies.
No problem. Perfect.
So,
So we're fine.
shall I go to the next slide, Mamoun?
I just want
Not yet. Okay,
to raise
perfect.
two point on that slide, and then we can move to the upcoming one. Thank you, Valeria. So I was saying that this disparity may cause sometimes some lack of opportunities that our banks may lose because they don't have access to other line of confirmation in terms of letter of credit. A cash transaction cannot be processed. So this will increase the disparity, and also stop the evolution of their trade finance transaction. Our role at that point is to introduce this initiative made by BCP to mitigate at the first time the risk of this region, and also to substitute on a case-per-case basis this subcontinent risk by BCP head office risk, which is the Moroccan risk, very highly valued compared to the others, allowing our members and our correspondent bank to take part on these transactions. As a quick resume of the constraint of the trade finance growth, we can see that the most common constraint is the competition, as I earlier said, and also the corresponding banks. Some of them are now taking some de-risking initiative and exiting the sub-Saharan continent. The majority of the British banks, some French banks are now exiting the market, which give us more opportunities as a Moroccan bank to, of course, enhance and develop further our presence in those countries, and also keep supporting the business in our presence countries. Compared to the main constraint, now we have a parallel between the fragility level of the states. So as I earlier said, there is high state. As we say, of course, there is a lot of Africas in the African continent. Each region quite different from the other. Each region, even though they are sharing the same economic environment, depending on the integrated economical zone, UMOA and CEMAC, but there is slightly difference between each country. These country can be defined in fragile state and non-fragile state. Fragile states are facing mainly the competition, of course, from the huge international bank, and also they are facing a little bit of pressure from the correspondent bank, who are given sometimes limit in favor of these banks. Limits are not enough to accommodate all the business, so they are always trying to have another solutions and another initiatives made either by other international commercial bank, head office companies, or head office banks, and also GFI. From our side, having the role of supporting our subsidiaries, we can see that the rate of rejection by sub-region is highest in mainly West and Central Africa, 9.4. As I said earlier, this is mainly depending on the critical situation from time to time for the of these risky countries. As you can see also in the south of the continent, the rate is very low, and in the north, 6.3 is mainly driven by the two very sensitive countries who are mainly Libya and Tunisia, who have been facing some critical fiscal situation and also some political change who are not bringing the needed comfort from foreign financial institutions. This rejection rate of letter of credit mainly will make us understand the nature and of course that the demand is mainly oriented on trade business. These countries are not well diversified. They are still working and focusing on plain vanilla transaction, no structured trade finance uh, development as we can see in Europe or in north of Morocco. So it's straightforward, plain vanilla transaction who are consuming mainly in terms of trade finance limits. Our role, of course, in the middle of this environment is to manage the international trade risk in several presence geography where BCP have a presence, and also to leverage on our expertise at the group level. And for that, we have dedicated a team in Casablanca who is managing the trade transaction of all our network, and also managing within the correspondent banking team all the interaction that we might need and express to have our correspondent bank onboarded with us in this adventure in the subcontinent. Of course, this support could be made by first the guarantees that the BCP head office could grant the confirming bank to allow them to have some comfort and accommodate trade transactions from issued from our presence network. The second mainly used instrument is the IRU, and this is a very specific trade finance instrument used to confirm the letter of credit and to give, not to confirm, but to undertake the reimbursement if the issuing bank fails to pay or to honor the letter of credit on a timely manner. And the third instrument is the first and second confirmation structure, mainly made out of our 3 active booking centers in Mauritius, Tangier, and also in France. After exploring quickly the role of the commercial bank, the role of BCP through its own initiative, there is also a huge participation of the GFIs, and I will take for our presentation a quick example of the African Development Bank, with whom we are very active as a Pan-African group, on which we can rely on their expertise and also on their appetite to accommodate transaction together with BCP. So development financial institutions are, of course, the most common in Europe: EBRD, the IFC. Africa, the African Development Bank is the most active. There is some new mandate for the EBRD and for the IFC, but they don't have the, of course, the presence and also the track record that advantage a little bit the African Development Bank as a providing essential funding either to our subsidiaries directly or also to the head office in order for us to syndicate the transaction directly to our subsidiaries. So as a part of this initiative, the mandate of the African Development Bank is also to bring very financing solution with a very competitive pricing, and also to build the capacity of our subs and also the other sub-Saharan banks in terms of technical assistance they may need, in terms of training and internship, bringing them all the best practice, and inviting them also to take part of the ongoing changes in terms of the trade finance industry, and also if they need some expertise in very specific fields of the trade finance instrument or trade finance business line, this DFI could also support this training and in order to encourage them to enhance their capacities. And also they can engage in a very specific product, some transaction based on, of course, the risk participation agreement. And this is something we're very proud of it, because we recently in March this year signed the RPA with the African Development Bank, who bring us as a participating bank, allowing us to confirm the credit of our subs, but also of other Pan-African group. So by confirming their risk, we can also bring to our risk people and showing them that there is an ongoing transaction, there is some opportunities where we can rely on the support of DFIs in order for us to take part of these transactions. I will, if there is any specific question regarding the scheme, please free to ask, and I will be more than pleased to share with you any specific details you may need. Think no question. Okay, on that. So there is another product also. Currently, we are studying the implementation of the transaction guarantee. Is typically for the trade finance people who are attending today with us. It's mainly the substitution of the product made by the EBRD. So this product will be a guarantee issued by the African Development Bank in favor of the confirming bank, allowing them to have some comfort in the transactions. So, for instance, if a counterparty on which your good bank do not have enough line or do not have any existing limit, they can rely on the guarantee issued by the African Development Bank, allowing them to convert the commercial risk by a supranational risk, which is much higher than the related issuing bank risk. As a as a conclusion, I would like to before we conclude, to have the floors and to open the floors to any question, and after that we can close the presentation. So feel free, dear colleagues, if you have any specific clarification or question to direct, I'll be more than happy to answer.
You can also write the question on the chat if you feel more comfortable to address a question to Mamoun. Yes, please, Youssef.
Hi, Mamoun. Thanks for the presentation. Just a quick question regarding the rejection rate you were talking about before. Uh, what do you mean exactly by rejection? Does it mean that correspondent banks don't have limits in place for your subsidiaries in Sub-Saharan Africa? Is it the case?
Not for our, thank you, Yusuf. Thank you for your question. Actually, the rejection rate was took as a panel for all the banks, the commercial bank present in West Africa. From our network, and now I'm talking about, let's say, Cameroon and Côte d'Ivoire, we have a sufficient line compared to the other because in terms of total asset, we are around the third and the fourth position ranking in those countries. So we have more capacity to build our track
Okay.
record with the correspondent bank. However, compared to the other competitor, and that's why we have an advantage and higher position in terms of ranking in those countries, the others do not have enough. They don't have enough line, and therefore their letter of credit cannot be confirmed directly by foreign institutions.
Okay. Great. Mhm. Thanks.
I would have a question on the organization that you have with all the national banks in Africa. How have you managed to centralize this process and also to maybe convince the banks to go into the trade finance in whole Africa? How mature was the market already? As you said, also the British and the French bank left the continent, enfin, are retrieving. So how does it happen to take the market and to implement such a strategy?
Well, thank you for your question. Actually, the initiative was supported when the Kingdom of Morocco reintegrated the African Union a few years back. So this initiative brought to our country a very competitive advantage, and that's why you can see also this is not very specific to BCP, but the same model is duplicated also with other Moroccan banks who are very present in the subcontinent. Of course, being African, we have more um, uh, the easy connection to make business in sub-Saharan Africa. So for us, it's very simple compared to the others. Also, there was some diplomatical issue who benefited to Morocco rather than other European country. That's why you can see that France is exiting the market and some of the British exited already some region. So for us, it's good to deal with our cousins in Africa because we are African, so we we have the flexibility to understand their need. On the governmental level, there is initiatives made by the government of Morocco to encourage and also develop the South-South cooperation, and this is where BCP particularly standed and joined the journey made by the authorities.
Thank you, Mamoun. Thank you. Are there any other questions on that regard for our colleagues of BCP?
Mamoun, I was wondering if BCP is issuing some country analysis, especially in the countries where you have entities, which could be maybe shared. I don't know if there's something that you are doing.
Definitely, we can share with you some market intelligence in those countries.
Okay.
If If you have, of course, any specific region, we'll be more than pleased to fine-tune and send you a tailor-made report. But for sure, we can share with you the market intelligence on Sub-Saharan Africa.
Okay, that will be great. Thanks for that.
My pleasure.
Maybe to close, I will ask another question. Would be, as BCP is also a cooperative bank existing more than 100 years in Morocco, is there room to convey the message about the cooperative model within your 17 banks with whom you have now privileged contacts with? Is it also a parallel strategy that BCP has started? Does it help also within the trust that you convey within the business?
Well, actually, for the time being, the cooperative scheme is only dedicated to the Moroccan structure. In the subcontinent, we have direct participations through AMIFA for the microfinance, and we have also direct participation in Banque Atlantique and BCP being 100% subsidiaries. So the cooperative model is not duplicated, unfortunately, for the time being in the subcontinent.
Thank you. Thank you again for your answer.
Welcome.
So I would say that if there are no any further questions for now, we would close this Spark session. Thank you again for everyone for attending this Spark. It's the last before last of the year 2024. So you can, of course, you will receive the presentation, and you can, of course, always contact Mamoun for any further questions or any ideas that you would like to develop. Or as Mamoun said, indeed, should you want to have some trading or some clients of yours that are wanting to explore the African continent, please think of BCP, which is part of the CIBP network. So once again, thank you very much for being with us. And next month, in less than 2 weeks, we'll be with our Argentinian member. We'll close the cycle of Sparks in 2024 on digital banking. So if you're interested, please connect again in December. Thank you very much again, everyone, and have a good rest of the day.